Fuck you, my child is completely fine.
To find a new name for ADHD.
Why?
Turns out they don't actually have a deficit in attention, they just can't regulate it. That explains the hyperfocus. It seems to be more of a regulation issue. Like with their sleep, it's either too much or too little. Everything they do is kind of just all or nothing. And they're only either understimulated or overstimulated. And they lack dopamine. So what about dopamine, attention, variability, executive dysfunction? Dave? Dave. Love it, write it down.
Fuck you, my child is completely fine.
Sorry, sorry, my ADHD is terrible today. I didn't even know you had that. You seem fine. Oh yeah, I've been masking. What do you mean masking? COVID's over. No, it's masking. It's a thing that people with mental health issues and ADHD do to hide their symptoms. We've been taught from a young age that most of them are socially unacceptable, and we want to fit in. You should just be yourself. Dude, what the f-
Hey, you have ADHD, right? Yeah, I do. Could you try to describe what that's like? I'm curious. Yeah, basically it's like, imagine you have 1,000 screaming, angry people inside of your brain at all times, and they all speak different languages, and they're trying to tell each other the world's about to end. What? Yeah, that's me deciding what I'm gonna eat for lunch. Well, like, is there anything else? I'm extremely good at stalling. Like, I can't not stall. Like, I have to, it's physically impossible for me to not stall. Maybe you could, like, set a reminder on your phone. I will see that reminder, think in my head, probably should go do the thing, and then just not do it. I can't. I cannot do it. Okay, well, is that it? No, also my brain just does dumb things sometimes. Like, what? I got off the phone with my grandpa, and then put the phone away in the freezer. I meant to hang it up, and I put it in the freezer. Why? Well, I wanted something from the freezer, and the phone was in my hand, so I kind of, like, traded. Are you sure you're just not dumb? That could also be the case.
My baby, you my little spider. You my little stepper, but you not a fighter. I love your desire and fire. I know that you are forever my rider. You're a star.
For those of you who have ADHD or you're living with ADHD, here's a really quick and easy tip. Everything in your house needs to be as easy to put away as it is for it to be left out. So that includes clothing. In our house, we use a lot of open bins, things that don't have lids, so you can just toss it in. You can make it super neat if you want, but if you're like me, or most of the people in my house who have ADHD, you can just toss it in, and then it's done. Follow me for more quick and easy tips on how to declutter, organize your life, so that everything is amazing, sunshine, flowers, all that shit.
Now, I know you're not being mean to yourself, right? This is for all my overthinkers out there that be thinking that they're hella annoying. You're not nearly as annoying as you think you are. Why are you so mean to yourself? Like, where'd you learn this from? That's learned behavior, which means you can unlearn it. You're a unique person with a fascinating point of view, and I love you. Like, what?
Feels like I'm going insane, yeah. It's a thief in the night to come and grab you. It can creep up inside you and consume you. A disease of the mind, it can control you. It's too close for comfort.
Anything and everything, all of the time. Could I interest you in everything, all of the time? A little bit of everything, all of the time. Apathy's a tragedy and boredom is a crime. Anything and everything, all of the time.
It was never a phase! It was a chemical imbalance! I needed medication! I chimed in. Haven't you people ever heard of closing a...
Something that I think is really fun is that when I was younger, like a year ago, I used to be really careful about what I posted on social media. I'd have a picture, I'd want to post it, but I wouldn't, because in it I would be drinking something, maybe juice, but it would be in a red Solo cup, and I would be like, oh, God forbid a future employer sees this and thinks that I'm drinking alcohol. Anyway, now I'm on TikTok, and I'm just like, I'm doing poorly. My mental health is deteriorating. I definitely shouldn't be driving.
So maybe I should just shut the fuck up. I'm bored. I don't wanna do that.
I'm finally gonna answer the #1 question I get asked in the comments.
which is, I think I might have ADHD. How do I get diagnosed and treated? Trust me, I know it can get really overwhelming and difficult to even know where to start. So here is my ultimate cheat sheet to what mental health providers do what. I want someone to help me get diagnosed. I want someone to help me get medication. I want someone to help me work through emotional and mental health challenges. And if you have a hard time making appointments, there's a service called ADHD Online where you can complete an assessment from your home. Within a few days, a licensed psychologist will reach out and either confirm or exclude a diagnosis. You can also get connected with one of their board-certified physicians to help you come up with a customized treatment plan. Or you can take the results to your local doctor. Visit the link in my bio to check it out.
My baby, you my little spider. You my little stepper, but you not a fighter. I love your desire and fire. I know that you are perfect how you are. You're a star.
Let's talk about the ADHD grief cycle real quick. You see, I thought when I got my ADHD diagnosis, that would be it. I have clarity now. That's the end of the chapter, right? Nope. Instead, my brain wanted to reread the whole damn book, and that made me sad. Someone told me that when you get a diagnosis for something like ADHD, that you go through a period of grief. But what are you mourning? After my diagnosis, I found myself in my head reliving a lot of memories. Now, all of these memories were slightly problematic ones, be that school, work, or past relationships. And in every single one, I could tell the real problem was my undiagnosed ADHD. And I'd been feeling sad as shit because I wish I could just go back and say, hey, you've got ADHD, and solve all those problems, but I can't. So I just wanted to say it's completely normal if you are feeling that, and no, you're not alone in this. It's just a process that you have to go through. Bye.
No, listen. Do you know how hard it is to be into someone when you're neurodivergent? I don't know if this is an ADHD and autism thing or both, but like, do you know the struggle? Can you relate? Because one, you're probably hyperfixated on this person. Two, before you started masking, or if you don't mask, you have no idea how to like get them to notice you, or like find somebody who's interested in you, or if they're interested back, like I have no idea what that looks like. And then when you start masking and you start analyzing people and you realize that people are predictable because they adhere to certain patterns of behavior, you can become the exact person they're looking for. And I'm like terrified that I'm just manipulating everyone around me because I can be the person that you want, but that's not me. So they don't actually like me. So now I don't know. And I'm just like,
you're not listening to anything, are you? What's up? What song are you listening to? Oh, I paused it like 3 hours ago. I haven't remembered to press play again. You're not gonna press play, are you? Nah, man, I was enjoying the song I made up in my head anyway.
ADHD, true, false. People with ADHD are just looking for an excuse to be lazy. False. Excuses to be lazy aren't covered on the Americans with Disabilities Act. Correct. You can develop ADHD as an adult. False. People's symptoms may worsen as they become adults, but they can't just develop it all of a sudden. Correct. Having ADHD is a gift. Well, that's true for me, but some people might not feel that way, and that's okay. Their feelings are valid. And you can't have ADHD if your grades are good. False. ADHD affects people in different ways.
I don't think people understand masking is not the customary social performances everyone puts on in order to survive. It is not making minor tweaks to your personality. It is fundamentally altering it. It is learning against your will to hide your entire being, every behavior that feels good and natural to you. It is having to be hyper aware of your every motion, from the way you swing your arms when you walk to the way you move your mouth. It is having to constantly microanalyze your own behavior due to years of abuse and neglect due to something entirely out of your own control. And above all else, it is all these things, it is doing all these things and still not being enough, throwing yourself away and still being abandoned. And for so many, it symbolizes such a slow, painful loss of identity that I can't stand when people dismiss it as something that everybody does, because for many, it is so much more than that.
So are y'all ever scrolling through TikTok and you see a video that's like super awesome, super fire content, you want to check out some of the information that was passed along in the video, like on the internet, so you can learn more about it? So you finish watching the video, you open up your browser, you start to go ask or search for the thing that you're interested in that was just in the video you were just watching and was only a minute long. And you just can't remember what it was that you were going to look up. So you go back to TikTok, accidentally hit the home button, and then that video is just gone forever. If you haven't double tapped that, you will never find it again. I've done this way too many times. My ADHD brain does not allow me to retain the thing that I was interested in because I was interested in the whole video and I can't remember the thing I wanted to look up. And if I'm lucky, then I have to go through this whole mental thought process where I like walk back through everything that I've thought about for the past 10 minutes to try to get back to the thing that I thought about when I wanted to open up the browser to look up the content to originally get back to that. ADHD is exhausting.
Memory overconfidence issues with ADHD.
So after I was diagnosed with ADHD, it really started to click. And when I say click, I could literally point to things in my house and say, oh yeah, definitely ADHD. So follow along, I'm gonna show you. This is my business partner's desk in my basement. And right next to it is my desk. Doom piles everywhere. 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 A mountain of unfinished projects. A whole room that I never use. A calendar that I bought to get myself organized. It's May now. This is still in January.
So I need ADHD everything to weigh in on this one.
You rang.
I feel like ADHD of the emotions is a thing.
Okay, first of all, ADHD of emotions, chef's kiss beautiful. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. For the majority of people with ADHD, we have problems regulating our emotions. So going from raging angry to sobbing crying at the drop of a hat, not unheard of. Why do we do this? Well, for most of us, we have an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex. And that's where your emotions are managed. So not only can we jump from one to the next lightning quick, but we also tend to feel them a hell of a lot more intensely. You ever notice that when you're really mad, we're talking like thunder of Odin's scorched earth pissed, as opposed to just a little perturbed? Or heartbreaking end of the world sobbing, as opposed to just a little upset? Or just won the lottery, best day on earth happy, as opposed to feeling content? Yeah, those can all happen. And it's all thanks to that fun little nugget between our ears. And I hope that answered your question.
Stimming can be described as small, repetitive, sensory-based activities that soothe or stimulate the senses. Examples might include sensations like tearing a perforation, popping bubble wrap, or rolling something between your fingers. It can also be stimulating to any of your other senses, like sounds or colors or even smells. It can lead to an addiction to something not normally addictive and or self-mutilation, most commonly nail biting. Please note that this does not include intentional self-harm as a coping mechanism to feel pain. An example of stimming might be running your fingernail over your cheek repeatedly because you like the way it feels, but you catch and stop yourself in professional settings because it's not appropriate.
Explaining a dopamine deficiency is one of the hardest things, honestly, to do because there's a million ways to make you uncomfortable hearing it. So let's do another one and try something a little bit different than most people. I had a conversation with someone recently, which is one of the weirder conversations I ever had, but it made so much sense, I gotta tell you about it. You're a vampire. And the only difference between vampires and us is that instead of bloodlust, we have dopamine lust. So what happens to a vampire when they have blood inside of their bodies? They're able to be concentrated. They're able to use their superhuman abilities to help them thrive through life. They are incredible, they're collected, and they know how to use their brains. What happens when a vampire does not have blood inside of them? They become shaky. They need it. They crave it. They don't care who they have to kill. They need that blood inside of them or they're going to die themselves. It's all they could think about. It's all they want. And what ends up happening is when they are blood deficient, they are not the superhuman that they can be. Understand your brain, understand your deficiencies, and understand that we can do something about it. Let's do it.
Here's the deal. I need you to stop harassing me. I got what you want. Drugs. Come to my house tomorrow for your free sample. I'm a dealer and a good one. I got the best shit in town.